Hi guys, thanks for stopping by again. Storyhawk here, just reading some stories from r/EntitledPeople today. So sit back, relax and enjoy. Cheers. You invited us camping, so that meant you were supplying everything. So went camping this weekend with a group of friends. Not our usual crew, but a bunch of them said they wanted to go and wanted to learn how to camp. Okay, sure, no problem. We discussed logistics such as sleeping arrangements, food, dates, activities, etc. We gave them a list of things they needed to bring, and if they didn't have those things, that they should let us know. So we got to our camping location a day early and set up. Chilled. Had some good food. It was nice. The rest of the camping group shows up, and two of the people literally just have the clothes on their backs. I offer to help them to find a spot to set up their tent, since it was supposed to rain the next day. Them. You didn't set that up yet? Me. No, where's your gear? Them. You invited us camping. You were supposed to bring everything we needed. Guys, they literally had just the clothes they were wearing. Nothing else. I called the rest of the group over to discuss this, pulled out my phone and verified that they'd been told to bring stuff. I even showed them the text and asked them why they didn't say anything in the group chat about not having camping supplies. Them. You said you had spare stuff, so we didn't need to get anything. Me. Yeah, but you had to tell us so we could bring it. They were super pissed when we didn't give them their main tent. They had to sleep in ragtag, thrown together spare stuff that everyone contributed. I had one spare sleeping bag, no extra air mattress, etc. So they were basically sleeping on the ground. Everyone chipped in spare clothes, warm socks, and even spare boots since it was so cold at night. Buddy never did get those boots back. Just one. We have no idea where the other one went. Oh, but you bet your ass those two brought weed. Got hella stoned. Then got caught going through my fucking cooler for food and had the audacity to complain about the terrible snack selection. Yeah, I'm celiac, motherfuckers. My main snacks are literally hidden because a box of cookies cost me $5. Wallet cries. So, no, I don't have a bunch of stoner snacks around. These guys even expected me to feed them for 3 days and wanted better snacks for next time. I always buy too many eggs, so thankfully I made omelettes 2 days in a row, which one guy refused to eat, asking if I could make him something else. We told him to just go home at this point, but we were camping 6 hours away from home and they didn't want to drive all the way back without actually getting to camp. These guys are actually pretty stellar, but it seems it just took the right situation to see their true colours. They began asking about our next camping trip and where we plan to go, and if we plan to bring any ATVs or boating stuff for that trip. Answer, ha 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 ha, no. I pay rent, so I own this house. Thought this would fit here, and English is not my maternal language. Backstory. My parents used to own a house on a big land. When my older siblings went away for college, the house felt too big for our needs, so my parents decided to sell the house, but not all the land. They bought a smaller house on the part of the land they didn't sell. A few years later, we moved to the city 2 hours away and kept the house as a place to go during summer. My parents decided to rent the house as it was well located and had a really nice view. Renting it meant that they could use the money towards the mortgage and taxes. Enters our Karen. Karen and her boyfriend rented the place so she could be closer to work. From the start, my dad made it clear. The place was for rent, and my parents planned on living in that house after retiring. At that time, both of them planned to work for at least another 20 years. They would, of course, notify Karen in advance when they wanted to take back the house, so she would have plenty of time to find a new place. In return, they asked that she notify them in advance should she wish to move out, so they can find a new renter. The lease also stated that my parents would have some of their things in a locked storage in the basement, as well as in a shed on the property, and that they would always call Karen before dropping by to get something out of the storage, which was in the basement and connected by the garage, so they wouldn't even disturb Karen. For a few years, Karen was an okay renter. She paid the rent through a cheque each month. She smoked inside and didn't take care of the land, but my dad didn't make a fuss about it. Real trouble started after around 12 years. Every few months, Karen's cheques would bounce back. My dad would call to ask her about it, and Karen would profusely apologise and rectify the situation. Then it became every other month, until it was every month. Finally, my dad had enough and called her about the lease and the rent. During the call, Karen argued that since she'd been paying rent for the last 12 years, the house was now hers. My dad was shocked since that came out of nowhere. He tried to explain to her that she was renting the place, like they'd agreed on since the beginning. Karen went on a bitch fit about how she'd paid so much over the years and she was the one living there and taking care of the place, which she was not at all. Therefore, it should be hers. She threatened to take my dad to court. Now, where I live, there are many laws which protects the renter, and it can be a real bitch to deal with when you have a nasty renter. My dad hired a lawyer to make sure everything was in order. After a meeting with Karen, where the lawyer was present, she realised she didn't have much of a case since all the paperwork concerning the house was in my dad's name and the original lease clearly stated that it was a rental. My dad offered her to stop renting, should she wish to, after the whole debacle, but she wanted to stay in the house. He made her sign a new lease where it stated that this was a rental and that should she not pay or cause trouble again, my dad would give her the shortest possible notice of eviction allowed by the law. Karen is still renting the house after almost 20 years. My parents are not close to retiring yet. Do hope it won't turn into a shit show when they decide to take the house back. Random woman tried to save me. So a random woman tried to save me from being quote unquote sexually harassed. Written on phone in the middle of the night without glasses. So, a bit of a backstory. I play a lot of video games competitively, and in my town we have a pretty big gaming community that also arranges weekly game evenings. We're about 15 to 20ish regulars, and we see a lot of people come and go throughout the day. We don't really have any age restrictions, but we don't really take people that are under 13 years old. We aren't babysitters. But as long as there's a parent, we are mostly okay with any age. We're a very close-knit community, and I would trust these people with my life. But seeing that I'm the only girl in the group of 15ish men has gotten us into a few interesting situations. So onto the story. The cast. Friend 1, Friend 2, Teach, random entitled woman, quote-unquote saviour of the day. So this was still when I was pretty new to the whole competitive part of gaming, but I wasn't new to the community, so I'd known all these people there for over about a year at this point. But I wanted to dip my toes into the competitive scene a bit more, so I'd asked one of the better players to teach me. I was sitting on a rather small couch with friend 1 or 2 on either side of me, when Teach came over and bent over my shoulder to talk to me and show me how to do things. Earlier this day, we'd noticed a mum with her 2 daughters, one who was 6 and the other 12. We know this because she kept bragging on about how bright they were for their age. Anyway, she sees me and that I have Teach hanging over my shoulder and she goes nuts. She forcibly grabs my arm, drags me out of the couch and into the hallway and starts rambling on about how if I'm alright, if she should call the police or anything. And something about how she knew she shouldn't have taken her daughters there and on about it being a room full of molesters and such. Short note, I have social anxiety, so I panicked. And I think she saw me panicking as a sign that she was right. I managed to calm myself down and explain to her that they are my friends and that I trust them very much. To which she replied something along the lines of, "Women can't be friends with men. All men are predators. You support dehumanizing women by being with them and you should be glad I saved you." There was a lot more, but you get the gist of it. Then she took her daughters, who were having a lot of fun it seemed like, and was disappointed to leave, and stormed out. I went back inside to my friends and sat back on the couch and broke down crying. I cried a lot. I was absolutely horrified. I hate being screamed at. And I hate being touched by people I don't know, and I hate confrontations. My friend used almost an hour to calm me down. I love them so fucking much. Look, I know I could have probably charged her with harassment, but I was just too busy calming down to even think of it at that moment. Well, there you go, guys. There's a few stories there. I hope you enjoyed them. Make sure you hit like and subscribe for more stories, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.